Hello, everyone, and welcome to Hope. My name is Tammy Lynn Connors. This is my YouTube channel and podcast, helping other people evolve. Today, I have Will with me. How are you today, Will?
I'm doing really good.
Great. I love it when I get to interview someone just sitting next to me instead. I mean, I love doing Zooms too, but it's nice to be able to just sit here like we're chatting at a coffee shop. So I met Will. I tried to figure out how many years ago it was.
Let's go back and see. 2012,
It was a long time. Yeah, it's been a long
maybe?
time ago.
It's been a little while. It's
Yeah.
been over 10 years.
Yeah, over 10 years. So we've stayed friends throughout that. It's been great. So I just want to share with everybody what my mission and vision with Hope is. And it's just to help people that feel like they're alone in their struggles. You know, I feel like in the world, and especially since 2020, more people feel like they're alone in their struggles. And people probably felt that way before that, but we see it more now. And they feel like they're alone in their struggles and they don't know how to get through. They don't even know how to get out of bed and open the front door and walk outside. And all of my podcasts are all about people that have gone through struggles. Some still are going through struggles, which we all do, I think. And then how we kind of get through those, navigate through life, give them some tools and things like that, and give you guys some hope. Hope that maybe you'll just get out of bed today and walk outside. You know, I know our stories don't always relate with everyone. Like Will's story is different than my story, and Jamie Dia's story is different, you know, but everybody gets to level up from what their struggle was and learn how to cope with life, I guess, the best way to say it. So I'm super excited for Will's story. Will and I, we've chatted a long time too, you know, been through some,
conversations.
yeah. So
I think one of the missions for us is the hope, faith, and courage
yes,
that we don't have to be alone, especially after God has rescued our lives and transitioned us into a better place.
Yeah.
And now we can have a foundation and new friends, new options, new adventures in our life there where we can grow and get better at. And that's something that I've always wanted to do with Tammy, as I've seen her grow on the spiritual side with her podcast, and you know, she's like a celebrity. I've always looked at her like, man, I want that life.
Mm.
But I had to get rescued from my higher power to get to where I'm at now.
Yes, and I'm so happy that you're here, because there was a time not too long ago, I didn't know if you were still here or not. So we'll get to that in a few minutes.
Yes, we will.
But thank
Yes,
you
we
for all
will.
that. I'm always very humbled when people say things like that about me. I'm just trying to be a light in the world. So I guess you grew up here in Toledo, right?
I grew up in Toledo, Ohio. Lived here all my life. Moved away a couple times.
Yeah.
But yeah, grew up in West Toledo.
I told him he wasn't allowed to wear Steelers stuff. I'm just kidding. I didn't tell him that.
They just happened to play tonight.
They play tonight, so he's sporting it, which he sports it a lot anyways, but he could have sported Michigan, but we don't want to do that right now either. So
I thought about it.
Anyway, so basically, I don't know, let's go into maybe after high school times.
After high school, I really didn't have no direction. I remember counselors at school said, you know what, you need to really, you know, find a purpose in life and maybe go to college. And I was at the point where my grades were not good at all. I really didn't have no ambition to complete high school. You are who you hang with. And I won't blame my crowd that I hung with, but most of my friends were up to no good anyway.
Right.
And that carried on. It was like that. It was just that stain that was on me that I really couldn't get out of myself. And hanging on the streets, up to no good. And there was times where I did good in life, but I just never could get out of myself and do something better with my life. So
A question. So when you talk about that crowd, because I did that too with that crowd, was that more of a crowd because you felt like you fit in more there, that you were more comfortable in that crowd?
I was always scared of success.
Yeah.
Just never could really put those good days, especially being young and growing up where I was with the friends I had. You know, college, we didn't talk about college. We didn't talk about having a house, having a wife, kids. It was always about usually drinking and partying and what are we going here for tonight? What's going on for tonight? Usually, and that was like most of our conversations growing up. Yeah, that's pretty much what it was.
Yeah. So
as I look back, it was never really about no amazing aspirations or I want to be this when I grow up. It was never that. None of that. Yeah.
was just partying.
Partying pretty much for
Yeah.
a long time, yeah.
So Will is in recovery, by the way, in case you didn't get that gist of that when we were talking, but so was alcohol like your first, like, were you addicted to alcohol first, do you think?
I think it was just the streets at first, just hanging out with the people and running from the cops at a young age, and then drinking got involved. I remember buying alcohol from the corner store because I had a goatee, and the guy thought I was old enough, so I used to go right to the store and buy beer. And they always, all my friends are, "Will, can you get us beer? Will, can you get us beer?" And that was like kind of the concept of me. Well, if I'm buying beer, I might as well just start drinking and
Right.
hanging out. So
Yeah, and plus everybody liked you then because you were buying beer, right? You were the one getting the beer.
I was a well-liked friend growing
Yeah,
up.
yeah,
People,
you're a well-liked person anyway.
people usually, my friends usually confided in me,
Mhm.
growing up, and I was like the big brother often
Okay.
in life. Yeah.
So how old were you when you had your kids? Are they quite a bit in age difference?
We had Philly at 25,
Okay,
and yeah, about 25. I had Philly first, and I didn't know how to be a father. I grew up with no dad, um, no direction. I just didn't know. My mom is the backbone in my family, but moms can only do so much,
right, it's true.
and I was terrified. But my mom did tell me, you lay with the woman, you get her pregnant, you stick by her, and you try to help her out. And I tried doing that, but I was denied. I shouldn't even been with her anyway, as I
Right.
look back. But I don't resent
Of course.
I don't resent the outcome of having a 19-year-old son about to go to the Air Force.
Yeah.
You know, that's just something that it's a gift from God.
Right.
But it was a struggle dealing with her for first and foremost.
Well, I mean, that happens.
Yeah.
And like you said too, I mean, even with my boys, I definitely should never been in that relationship, but I'm so blessed that my 35, almost 35-year-old son,
Yes.
you know, so and that's, I guess, at times we have to look back on our relationships and things like that and know that those were learning experiences.
I was
now in life,
hard-headed.
right?
I was hard-headed growing up. And as I look back now, my mom, she told me, do not sleep with that woman. And she's a scorned woman, and my mom was right. And
Well,
what did I do? Mom, she's gonna, no, it'll be fine, mom.
that's like me. I was like the same way with my mom and stepdad with the boy's dad, and I'd be like, but I'm gonna
Yes.
change him. It's gonna be different. Yeah,
So
that doesn't work out.
life lessons
Right,
learned. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so now are you partying still when you have your son? You know, what's going on with Will at this time?
So at this time, I'm 25. I'm on the streets. Drinking and drugs was a big part. Selling drugs, drinking, the whole lifestyle. I'm working. I was selling. No, back up. I wasn't selling Kirby's at this time. At 25 years old, I was really just working and on the streets.
Mhm.
Just whatever came first. So we're going here tonight. We're doing this. Work a little bit. I didn't have a life at all,
Right.
and no purpose in life. And that's when I really start to really indulge in drinking and doing drugs.
Mhm.
And the lifestyle just made sense. You know, I don't really have nothing to live for. And then after we had Philly, that's when like I was already just not making right decisions in life. And I went to prison. I wanted to protect my son. There are some things that happened with my son on his mom's side, and I wind up committing a crime.
Mhm.
And I went to prison for 14 months. I got out on early release, good release, and came home. Really still I got my GED in prison. Um I had a purpose, but it was a small purpose because they talked about at one of the treatment centers that I went to is you can really do something good with your life now and use your GED to go to college. And I started doing that. I went to college for 3 years. Got 65 credits. Within a moment in life, my granny passed.
Okay.
And I didn't know how to deal with that. I don't deal well with death.
Mhm.
Nobody does.
Right.
But I've been to a lot of funerals at this point, and it just seemed like every year, like somebody was dying close to us. Not in my immediate family, but on our other
Sure.
side of the family. Yeah. And I just didn't handle it right. And when she passed, I just went back to the old friends and back to the old crowd and back to the same old, same old. And I gave up college and dropped out. And that's when my drinking really took over.
Yeah. How old were you then, do you think?
I was 20, 28, 29.
28?
Yeah.
So were you sober then from the time like when you were in prison till that moment?
Yeah.
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 So when you got out of prison.
Well, they told me in prison, the judge told me, if you drink or do any drugs in prison and I find out about it, you're gonna stay the whole 14 months.
Okay. Okay.
And so when they sit me down there, my lawyer, which is now a common pleas judge, he told me, we're just trying to scare you, man. You know, you committed a crime. We just
Right.
want you to go down here, do right, and I'm gonna bring you right back home. And he kept his word.
Mhm.
And I went down there with the right attitude. Didn't get into any drama, didn't drink, didn't do any drugs.
Did you go to meetings at that time or anything?
I think I went to a few A meetings. I know I went to church a lot.
Okay.
And I worked out a lot.
Mhm.
And then at that point, when I came home, I wound up getting my GED, and college, Owens is there, and they said, hey, you know, why don't you come to Owens
Yeah.
and start something new with your life?
And what were you majoring in?
Culinary arts.
Okay.
So it was 3 years that I had to wait to even get into the program.
Okay.
So they gave me some prereqs to take, and I completed all those with high honors. And the teacher told me, you write really good. You should be a writer.
Yeah.
And I just never, that success, it didn't register.
Yeah.
Because when you hear good things about yourself, it's like,
Yeah.
you know.
Right. Right. Well, there's that self-sabotage that we do.
Yes,
Right.
that's very true.
And it happens a lot. I mean, I still sometimes will do that. And I'm like, what are you doing? Get out of that mindset. So now you're back. You're unfortunately your grandmother passes away. Now you're back right at it again, right?
I started hanging, so came home, started going to some meetings. It's 2008. I really just, I didn't know I didn't know what I could gain out of going to AA or any kind of recovery classes.
Right.
Never thought that I was a bad alcoholic or a bad drug user. I just didn't know what to think of that.
Mhm.
And there was a point to where I started hanging on the same friends.
Right back at him.
So once I did that, I started letting my guard down.
Mhm.
And then people are coming over, we're drinking more, we're hanging out. And school, I got further and further and further away from school, further and further away from my goals. And I regret it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean,
Another life lesson that I didn't
No.
learn at that time.
right. So now you get sober again then, right?
So I got sober again. It's 2000. So back up. So 2010, I slept with this woman and she got pregnant. Didn't know that I had a son, or me, a daughter. So at this point, it was 6 months after she was born, I found out that I had a baby daughter.
Oh, okay.
And now, you know, her name's Faith, and I went downtown, and they knocked on my door the day before and said, hey, can you come downtown and file the paperwork for your daughter? I said, daughter? Really? And they were like, yeah. And I went downtown, and I wasn't in position to take custody of her.
Right.
And they wound up placing her with her mom's aunt.
Okay.
But you know, I was thrilled. I was thrilled and scared.
Right.
But when I seen her for the first time, another gift from God.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's how old now?
She's 14.
14 now.
She's 14. She's doing really well.
Good.
There may be a day where I do have her.
Okay.
Because she wants to come live with me.
Yeah.
So it's been some strides, it's been some growth
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, that's good though.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now when I met you in 2012, You were sober, right?
I was sober. I just wasn't working a strong enough program.
Because the weird thing is we met at a little bar.
Yeah,
Local little bar. And it must have been right around 2012, 13, because I was working at the casino. So I was there with my friend Tanya. And I met Will, and I remember saying something about being sober, and he said that he was too. And I was like, well, that's cool. We're both in a bar sober. I don't recommend that, just so everybody knows, in recovery.
Do not recommend
I
that.
don't recommend that. And many of people know me, and maybe they don't on here, but I mean, I do go out dancing, but I don't go sit in a bar,
You
right?
could go to a bar if you have a purpose of being there.
Right. And that's, so when I go out dancing, and if somebody wants me to go sit at a bar because they're gonna shoot pool or they're gonna just sit at the bar, I'm like, I'm good. I'll see you when you get done.
Right.
Because that's not where I need to be. And I know that. And I'm blessed by the grace of God to be here too. So let's go 2013.
So in 2013, I'm off the rails. I wind up getting an apartment. I'm telling everybody I'm getting custody of my daughter. Life is good. And then I move into a place, I'm working, and I wind up things just got bad. And I'm living alone, and I didn't know how to be a father at this time. I got 2 kids now. I see often. I'm working daily. I'm paying child support, but I'm still drinking. I'm still doing drugs. No purpose in life. Yeah, I had 2 kids, but I don't know how to take care of them.
Right.
And it got to the point where depression started to seep in. And one of the bright spots, a woman that I met in 2011, we were best friends, and she used to always come to see me. She seen something inside of me that I did not see at all. And she told me, man, Will, you're an amazing guy. If you stay sober, you'll be, you have an amazing life if you stay sober. And I just could never get there. And what she's seen, I don't know, but I see what she's seen now.
Yeah.
As I look back. And I wound up telling her, you know what, hey, I've been doing this and doing that. I'm not a good person right now. I don't feel like a good person to you. And one of her options were come to Indianapolis.
Okay.
And she's moving down there. And at this point, we're best friends.
Right.
And we wind up moving her down there. And it was a new life.
Yeah. So you left Toledo, went to Indianapolis.
So I wind
this
up,
time.
so at 2014 and 16, I wind up getting sober. I had 2 great years sober. I understood what I was becoming. I had some kind of purpose, but I just didn't give the recovery process the whole 110%. It didn't sit well with me. No, not me.
Right.
And I go down there 2 years sober, and within 3 months I start drinking again.
Sure.
And I got in the I got away from recovery. I got away from my network. I got away from the people that loved me, because I didn't love myself at that point.
Right.
And I get down there, and within 3 months I'm drinking, and I wind up getting a DUI down there. And they found me asleep at the wheel. And the judge, he looked at me right in my eyes and said, you could have killed me, or you could have killed yourself or somebody.
Yeah.
And I was gonna come back home. Actually, a girlfriend of mine, she's been sober 40 years, she said, Will, come back home.
Yeah.
Come home.
Yeah.
It didn't work out.
Yeah. It's okay.
It's okay.
Yeah.
And I never heard that, it's okay to be who you are, Will. All my friends, I had to exceed expectations. I had to be the people friendly, or people pleaser. And so nobody never really looked at me and said, man, Will, what do you need, man? I'm here for you.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Yeah.
And she was one of those people. Yeah. And
it's good to have that. Let's go to that.
Game changing.
Let's go to that people pleaser thing, because Lars and I were just talking about this on my last podcast. I've always been a people pleaser too. It's just who and now I've at least learned my boundaries and my worth. So it makes it different than how I used to be being a people pleaser. I used to let people walk all over me, and I also would always make sure I fit in somewhere.
Well, people didn't walk on me. They knew their boundaries with that. I wasn't raised no punk.
Yeah, there's a
I
difference,
always stood up for myself. People that know me know that.
right?
It was just, if I go the extra mile, now I'm in your best interest now.
Right.
You know, and that's not logical thinking.
Right, right.
And I don't, as I look back, man, I've messed up a lot of relationships like that. A
Mhm.
lot of relationships.
Mhm.
I
Yeah,
mean, good people that I had in my life that's
Yeah.
still there,
right,
but I had to go through this process to see that now.
sure, sure.
So
It's because it's all is a process.
yeah.
For sure. So did you come back then?
So I didn't come home. I wound up staying down in Indianapolis. Things got better.
Did you get sober again?
I was just teeter-totting
Mhm.
in and out,
Now, is this
Um,
all alcohol right now?
alcohol and drugs.
Okay,
Yeah.
you can talk about drugs, we're not in the AA room.
I know.
Okay.
I it got to the point to where it was like, you know what, I need to create something down. I'm gonna stay down here.
Mhm.
And I started working, got my own place again, bought a brand new car, making good money, coming home regularly. I just didn't that hold on my life to hold on to sobriety. It wasn't as strong. Yeah, I go to meetings, yeah, I'm sober,
Yeah,
but it wasn't as strong as it is now.
Right.
That hole was still not filled.
right,
And I wasn't living right. And when I wind up doing more damage to my significant other, and she just looked me in my eyes and said, "You know what, man? What else is new?
right,
And I still love you." And the people that we drag through our addiction, they're hostages, man.
Sure.
We take a hold of them, and it's really catastrophic. And once we get to the point to where it was to the point to where I had to let her go because I didn't want her to love me no more.
Mhm.
And that's really sad.
Yeah,
Um,
and that had to be really hard
it
too.
was hard.
Yeah.
So I'm doing more damage. I'm drinking more. Um, I wind up coming home, or I wind up going. I moved away to Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh,
So all my dreams and aspirations. Oh, I love Pittsburgh. I want to go to the city. I want to be good. I'm gonna start over again.
Right.
This is the fourth time.
right?
And I got there, and a girlfriend of mine, she actually sent me some information about a recovery house there. I went there, got there safely, got busy and just doing the recovery process. And within a few months, I started drinking again.
Yeah, I remember when you were in this recovery house.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I started drinking again, and then it got to the point to where actually Mel, the girl from Indianapolis, she wound up calling me and she wanted to meet, and I've done all this damage to her. And she looked past all that. And so I just want to meet you. I just want to see you when you come back home. And she's from rural Michigan, and I'm, obviously from Toledo.
right,
So when she says come home, I'm coming back to Toledo.
Toledo, right.
And I didn't make it home that weekend. And
Mhm.
I drank and blacked out, and I'm missing, and people are looking for me. And it was
I was one of those people.
I cried my eyes out after it all happened, and I woke up after 3 days, 3-day bender, and I've forgiven myself for that damage
Yeah,
that I did to you guys,
Yeah.
the pain and suffering that I put my friends and family through.
we were all
Um,
worried,
You know,
but here you are today.
yeah. So I as I tell that story, it's really powerful because there was a time where I could have been dead and gone.
Right, for sure.
And nobody would never knew where I was, what
Mhm.
happened. And I knew when I got sober, I had to tell that story for hope.
Right,
And today I'm not struggling today. I know what my purpose is today. And God has opened a new door for me. And I love where my life is.
yeah,
So I had a spiritual awakening. So at this point, I'm missing, they find me, I'm in treatment, I get sober, I get a new place again, So as you kind of see the pattern, there's a pattern there.
Right.
You know, Will does really, really well in treatment. Will does great, comes out of treatment. Is this the time when Will's on his own?
Mhm.
Can Will stay sober through all conditions?
Right.
And obviously that void that I tried to fill with everything wasn't filled.
Mhm.
Different city, friends, girls, sex. No,
You know,
it doesn't happen like
I'm
that.
gonna stop that real quick because I just was talking to a friend of mine about this too. I always say this. You are where you are. Wherever you go,
Yeah.
there you are, right? And so this friend of mine, he's having a hard time with some things and he's always wanting to, I'm gonna go here, I'm gonna go to Bali, I'm gonna go to Canada, I'm gonna go to Mexico. And I'm like,
Slow
you're
down.
always, just know you are wherever you go.
Yes.
And so it's kind of funny because I've said this to him for probably a year. And he's a younger kid. He's almost like my kid. I take him as my kid. And the other day he said, I was talking to my counselor and you wouldn't believe what she said. I said, oh, what's that? He's like, well, you know, she told me that no matter where I go, there I
You
am.
take yourself with you.
Listen, I was like, I've been telling you that for a year and a half. It's just funny. It just reminded me of that, but it's so true.
It's so true.
If you're not healing and taking care and figuring it out, you're wherever you go, you're still there.
Yes.
It just, you're picking up and going to a different area, but it's gonna be the same thing over and over again, which is why we call insanity.
Before I left to go to anywhere, I left Toledo 2 years sober. My sponsor, I see him daily now. My old sponsor, he told me, remember, Will, you take yourself with you wherever you go.
Yeah,
And I was like, what does that mean?
right.
And when I came back, I was gone 7 years. When I came back, I see him at a meeting and he was like, you understand what I was trying to tell you?
Mm,
Everywhere you go, you take yourself with you.
yeah,
And it made sense.
yeah.
And today I'm almost 2 years sober.
Mhm.
My sobriety day is 12/31/22.
Yeah.
New Year's Eve.
New Year's Eve.
New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
I came back home with the right purpose, and I've been sober ever since I came back home.
Yeah, and you've been doing a lot. with your
So
sobriety.
my spiritual awakening that I want to tell
Yeah,
the
of
viewers. At this point, once I got everything back and I'm in Pittsburgh and I got a new place, that void was still there.
Mhm.
And I wound up drinking more, and I was so hopeless at this point. I was working for the Steelers.
Right, I
A
remember.
girlfriend of mine that I met at a meeting, she was like, I can help you get a job for the Steelers. I'm like, what? Man, I'll do it for free. And at this point, I'm like, I'm all dialed in. She gets me this job. So I'm all throughout the stadium, locker room, cleaning the field, walking on the field. I'm loving life, but I'm drinking every day.
Mhm.
And it was close to almost the season's over. And I'm walking on the field, which is a dream come true for me.
Right.
And God said to me, look where you're at right
Mm.
now. Ain't none of your friends, nobody in life has been close to where you are right now. This is a dream come true. You're in the players' locker room.
Right, right.
This is a dream come true. And I'm talking to the owner for the Steelers and talking to players. Hey, how you doing? Hey, you know. And I just couldn't get to the point to where I wanted to live.
Mm.
Like this is where I'm supposed to be.
Mhm.
And God said, no, look, you're ungrateful.
Mm. Ooh,
You're not grateful. And that was a spiritual awakening.
yeah.
So I wind up getting evicted out of that apartment. And a friend of mine, she came from Indianapolis,
Okay.
the one that set me
Oh,
up with the
okay.
housing when I moved to Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
She was going to Cleveland. And she wind up calling me. She wanted to see me. So, Will, I love you. I want to see you. It's the holiday. It's almost Christmas. And I wound up telling her that, look, I need help. I need help. And I cried out. And she came down that next day. We packed up the house of everything of what we could, and she brought me back home. And I've been sober ever since.
Yeah.
She saved my life.
Yeah. Good. We're glad that she saved your
Yeah.
life. Yeah. We're glad that you're still here and you're doing so much, you know, with yourself. I see.
Well, today I have a purpose today.
Right. What is your purpose?
To stay sober under
Yeah.
all conditions. To help somebody else get sober.
Mm.
To fully love and embrace this new life that I have, that I've been given.
Mhm.
Because recovery is a gift. And I have a peace of mind today. I have a purpose to live for today. I have a God of my understanding. Both my kids are back in my life today. I'm employed. I'm a friend, potential husband one day. I don't know. I just got into the point to where I had to find my purpose.
Yeah.
And I couldn't do it nowhere else.
Yeah.
And God tells me, you couldn't do it nowhere else. What that was an experience. You couldn't do it nowhere else but home. You do better in Toledo, as the sign says. Every time I drove back home, you'll do better in Toledo.
And for you, that's true.
Yeah. And
Yeah. For me,
I've been working for First Solar for almost 2 years now. I just got my chemical dependency counselor assistant license.
Saw that.
Who does? I mean, it's just a domino effect.
Right.
You know, and I've been dialed into this new life that God's been giving me. What more, you know?
Right. I love that you said helping other people, because to me, I believe that we are to serve, all of us. It's just, and it doesn't mean like, I say it in a, I don't know, wait, so today at work, here's an example. We had a to-go order, it was a big to-go order, it was 2 big bags. And I told the lady, it's okay, I'll carry it out to the car for you. Not a big deal for me at all, right? I was just helping, I put it in the car. Later, 2 guys are sitting at the table and he's like, I can't believe you were carrying those 2 bags and she was on her phone. And I was like, I told her I grabbed the bags, it was easier for me to grab them. And he's like, I still can't believe it. And he was just wouldn't stop. I said, sir, my purpose in life is to be a light to others.
Yeah.
And my purpose in life is to help people.
Yeah.
I didn't mind doing that at all. And he's like, well, I just can't believe it. And I'm like, it's okay. And his friend that was sitting there was an older gentleman. He said, he gave me a high five. And he's like, that's how I am too. He's like, but it's people like this that won't do those things.
Right.
And he looked at the lady like she was expecting me to do that. And it wasn't. And I had to tell him the whole conversation. So when I say serve, I don't mean like, I don't even know how to say it right. I just believe that we're here to make other people's lives better by smiling, opening a door, helping them in recovery, helping them know that they can get through these things. And that's, I believe, a purpose for everyone. And everybody's service is different though.
I'm learning my purpose, and I know the little bit, I've been sober for a little while now. It's just really getting to the point to where I'm okay if that person, if they're okay with themselves.
Right.
You know, I'm okay.
Yeah.
There's no reason to go do the extra mile anymore. When I see people at meetings, we're a family today.
Yeah.
You know, I'm no better than them, and they're no better than me.
Right. That's true.
You know, I got a couple people I work with today, and we work steps together, recovery steps, the 12 steps Alcoholics Anonymous.
Yeah.
And I give them hope.
Yeah.
People gave me hope when I got
Right.
here.
Yeah.
And they still give me hope to this day.
Yeah.
They see me like, man, Will, you're a light, man. Your best days are coming.
Yeah.
And it's like my best days.
Right.
My delusional thinking was my best days were when I was in Pittsburgh walking on the field.
Right.
You know, I'm talking
Yeah.
NFL players. That's my best days. No, Will, your best days are coming, man. And you're this the foundation that I have today is helping somebody else, no matter if it's taking somebody to a meeting, cooking, bringing somebody some hope. That's the help that we need today.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree 100%. That's why I do hope.
Yeah. This
That's
is amazing. You know what? I need to do something like this.
It's
You know?
great. It's great to be able to share our stories and be open about it, and just knowing that someone is going to hear this today and be like, oh, I can get up today. That's what I feel like. That's what happens. Like, you know, 4 times you said you relapsed?
4 times.
4 times. So, and I'm very, I keep my ego very low with this, because I have been 100% blessed that I never went back out again. And I've seen so many people do that. And I think in my head, man, it's gotta be so hard mentally, because once you're sober and you're doing things and then you go back, then you have that guilt, that remorse, all of that,
shame, yeah.
all of it
It's
there
huge.
too.
It's
So that's
huge.
beating you up too.
Yeah.
At the same time, I can imagine. So I 100% had my spiritual awakening the day that I quit. And I just thank God for that, because I don't know if I would, you know, I never would try, but I don't know if I'd ever make it back, you know? And that's
By the grace of God.
what is that saying? Like, one drink away from
One drink away from destroying it, losing everything.
everything. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm just really 100. But, we just like people to know, like, and I love that. I don't love that you failed 4 times with recovery, but I love that you did.
I got back up.
Because you got back up and here you are. And that shows people though, that you can get back up and you can keep going and you don't have to stop. And yeah, you might trip and you might fall, but it's okay. Just get back up again and try it again.
Yes.
Because it's there. And you got to work the steps and work a program and whatever it is that you do, right? Will does 12 steps? I don't, we all work our programs differently. And I have everybody do what you got to do to stay sober. That's how I feel,
Yeah.
but he's mentioned God a couple times and everybody knows on my podcast that that's my belief is God.
Yeah.
That's my higher power. And we know whatever yours is, that's what it is. But you have, and then to get through things in life, because I know since you've been sober over the last 2 years, I've seen you've lost some close people.
Yeah.
You know,
my nephew was just murdered.
Yes.
Yeah, a few months ago.
Yeah.
And the whole first thought wasn't to drink.
Right.
The first thought wasn't to go sabotage him.
Right.
The first thought was, how can I be a comfortable present to my sister?
Mm-hmm.
How can I show her that her family's here for her?
Yeah.
What does she
Exactly.
need? And that was just like the void that I lost was the kids being around family now, being back in my hometown, being present. When your family sees you present, that's love there.
Yeah.
I needed that. I didn't have that when I was gone for
Right.
7 years.
Yeah.
It was just me.
Yeah.
A whole new environment, whole new people.
Yeah.
And I had to go through to get here right now.
Yeah.
And if you're struggling, my advice is to reach out. I've had a lot of friends die from this addiction. And I've got a lot of friends that's in recovery with me today. And we share the same purpose, is to stay sober and help somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
And our lives are amazing now. Like
That's awesome.
I wouldn't change it for nothing.
Good.
I wake up on the right side of the bed. I know where my car is.
Yeah.
You
know what you did.
My kids are back in my life today. Like I'm responsible today.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that I never really was.
Right.
Growing up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And like I said, you have to have those tools and you have to use those things when the struggle comes, because I tell people I don't wake up every day and it's rainbows and unicorns and sunshine
Never.
in Tammy's world, especially right now in Toledo, but because it's so cloudy and that's a hard time. And it really is. And I'll admit it, like this is a hard time for me when it's gloomy and cloudy because I love sunshine.
Florida.
And it's just gloomy. So I get into that. I don't like to really say it, but I can get into that seasonal funk, you know?
we all
I don't
can.
get into like a depression,
We all
but I
can.
get where I'm like, oh, I just don't want to go outside. I don't want to do anything. But now I have tools to use in my life to get me through those days. The gratitude, when you say
Yeah.
gratitude, I think that waking up every day and being thankful for at least one thing.
Yeah.
I've had people say to me, I wish I could be as happy as you are. And I'm like, well, you can. And they're like, well, you are always just happy. I said, I wake up every day, I pray, and I say some gratitude things, what I'm grateful for. And they're like, well, I wish I had something to be grateful for. And then I'll say, there I go. Like, well, you're standing here at a job, your eyes are open, you're speaking to me, you're hearing me, and you're breathing. So I would have to say, got a lot of things to be grateful for. Because people think gratefulness has to be this
Material
huge
stuff.
thing and material,
Yeah.
but it's got to be so big. Like I got to be so, and it can be just, we're able to sit in this room and talk,
Today, Tammy, I wake up and I have a peace of mind.
Yeah.
I have love in my heart. I have numerous friends and family that I see or talk to on a daily basis. That's they're going through their problems, but it's minor stuff. It's
Yeah.
compared to my nephew
Sure,
passing and stuff
sure.
like that. Yeah, we're getting through that. But we got a good life. We have a really good life.
Yeah. Yeah.
And most of the people in my circle, there's nothing really to complain about.
Right.
And if there was, then we're there for you. But compared to the alternative, no.
Right. Yeah.
No.
That's it. I agree.
And the people, I want to be around people that got love in their heart. They're not a Debbie Downer. They're
Right.
not,
Yeah.
or always about drama or it's
Yeah.
always about them.
Yeah.
stay away from me.
Yeah, exactly.
Stay away from me.
I feel the same way. I talk about that a lot, and I have to do that too, like detach, and you gotta go over here. I
Yeah.
will love you from afar, but you're not here. I can't be here because
Yes.
I'm not gonna be brought down. I just want to mention one thing. I see your bracelets here with all the, is that the whole Serenity Prayer on there?
Yes.
But nice. So what I love about that is, and many people know too, that I have tattoos all over and they're all affirmations. And I think that they're important to have, like you are not alone, that one says,
One day at a time, you're not alone. This is a Bible scripture right here and
Yeah.
the Serenity Prayer.
Yeah, and so I have the Serenity Prayer tattooed on my thigh. So whenever I go to the bathroom, I say the Serenity Prayer. I joke about it, but it's true, because sometimes, if you guys don't know the Serenity Prayer, it's God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And that's important. So sometimes I have to re-say that and re-say that and re-say that, because, you know, a lot of times I'm out there trying to change things and I know I can't,
Mhm.
and I have to let it go and let God, you know, and know the difference then. And Chad, when he was just in the hospital with his eye stuff, he said, Mom, you don't know how many times I said the Serenity Prayer laying in that
Mhm.
hospital bed. And I'm like, you're welcome. But yeah, it's true. But I love that you have those there, because even if you're having a moment or something, you could look down and at your wrist.
I look
even.
out often and it's all
Yeah.
recovery.
It's all recovery and
Yes,
it's all right there. And I think that's important for people, the visual things that we need in our lives too. Like in my house, I've showed before, I got, you know, I have my crosses on the wall and I have my hope rocks and I have affirmations all over the place,
Yes.
because I need that. I need those things.
Yeah.
Like I have 3 little papers that I wrote in my house that I'm ready to be at the greatest time of my life and be the greatest person that I can be. And they're just hanging all over my house. So if I'm having a bad moment and I'm walking out my door, I'm like, I look around like, wow, look what you have right now. I mean, I was homeless. I have all those things. And now I'm like, I live in a beautiful house and everyth's good.
God's giving you exactly what you need.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, the little extra. Thanks,
Yeah,
God. But it's
thanks.
like you opened up this whole new life for me. And when I see you, I see that you're a bright light trying to help others.
Yeah,
And that's amazing.
that's what I try.
And I need to gravitate more to people like you.
Yeah.
And
But you do, you light up rooms.
I
you
do,
light
I
up-
do,
you
I do.
for sure.
I have those moments
Yeah.
where I don't know what I'm doing.
It's all right.
I'm
God
just
does.
I just want something better.
Yeah,
And people see that today.
Yeah.
And it's
That's
like, wow, man, I need to be around you, Will.
yeah,
And I'm pretty grateful for the life I have today.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm grateful for the life you have too.
Love
Give
you,
a
friend.
hug. I love you. Any last words you want to say to anybody?
I would just say, my story hits home. It speaks depth, that it speaks weight. I had to go through it. I had to go through to get to where I'm at now. And I wouldn't see it no other way. Today I have a purpose. I have a God of my understanding. I have sobriety. I have a whole new life. And without any of that, I wouldn't have a life.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have recovery.
Right.
I wouldn't have my kids back in my life.
Yeah,
So
it's awesome.
that's all I got.
It's awesome. Well, everybody, thank you so much again for tuning in to Hope. We're on Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Audible, and the YouTube channel. Like, subscribe, share with your friends. I'm sure that somebody's gonna hear Will's story today and be like, yeah, that's me. Or, hey, I got a friend that might need to listen to that.
You can reach out to me on Facebook, William Duncan with the tuxedo on.
There you go. William Duncan with tuxedo. I'll put his thing on there too. It'll have his name and everything. So you guys all have a great day. And once again, thank you for jumping on Hope.